Shaq, you've shared those stories before about Kareem and guys like that. Dirk, did you have former players and all that were criticizing you early in your career that gave you extra motivation?
Well, it was hard for me my first year. Back in the days, there were not that many Europeans around. And, every time I was guarding somebody in front of the opposing bench, they were, go at him, he's soft. I mean, I heard all that. And it's just, but that's part of it. You have to kind of learn how to hold your own and get, draw motivation out of the naysayers and doubters. And all I want to do is just keep working. Every summer, I try to add something, get better, get a little stronger, so you can hold my own a little bit and rebound a little better. And just that's what I try to do, is always just better. But there was guys that would go at me all the time. I mean, KG was one of them. He was wild. I mean, he would sometimes. I would get out of the huddle. He would already pick me up out of the huddle and follow me nose to nose everywhere I went. And he was hard on me early on. He tried to go at me all the time, and we even had battles later in our careers when we played against each other for a decade plus. And he still had that intensity. And so he was one guy that always drove me and motivated me.
Two follow-ups to that, because KG literally makes me laugh every time I see clips of him yelling at people. Number one, do you remember any of the reckless that he said to you? Like, is there one that still makes you laugh that he said it to you?
No, I mean, it was a lot about you soft and this and that. So that's what I remember. And then, but I don't really want the specific. It's kind of like, you go in 1 year, 1 out year, and you just compete at the highest.
The other question was, do you remember when you earned his respect and he gave you that KG like head nod where instead of like thinking you're soft, he realized, oh, I'm going to be battling this guy for a decade?
I think it's when I was my first All-Star game, and that was I think my third or fourth, maybe fourth year. Now back in the West in the All-Star, my first All-Star. I'm in the West. Shaq's in there, Kobe's in there, KG, Tim Duncan. I'm literally walking around. I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. So me and Steve Nash, obviously, who played with me, we got to be first time All-Stars together. And so to go through that with one of my best friends was I'll never forget my first All-Star. And then I think KG respected me a little more after that, and we had some good discussion. And around the All-Star game, he's completely different. He's fun. You talk to him in the in the locker room. He's joking the whole time. I did not know he was like this, because when you see him in the regular season, I mean, he's all business and all hard and all wants to just elbow you the whole time down. But in the All-Star game, he's such a fun guy. I mean, he's joking around all the time. So. That one surprised me a bit, but I would say after my first All-Star game, I think I was accepted a little more.
Yeah, I have heard Chuck tell the story of them facing you when you were like 18, 19, and like you're tearing up Scottie Pippen, and then they come to you and they're like, "Who the hell are you?" And you're like, "Listen, I got to go serve in the Army." Did you really think you were about to go serve in the Army? Like, was that like a real possibility?
So I actually did. It was mandatory in Germany for a while. So when that team came over to Germany, I was actually in the Army. And so I did 2 months of regular basic training, where this was like a couple months before those games. And then for like 6-7 months, I was in a thing called a sports company where I could train. Then full time, I could train in the morning, train in the evening, and just that's really when I started to be a professional. But at the time, I was still in the Army. And so there were these Nike organized these games, and I was able to get free from the sports company and go for these 2 games. And I've heard Charles tell this story a million times. It gets
a million times
with his Auburn, and I would have never gone to Auburn, of course. But the story changes a few times over the years. I think one time I had 50 at halftime. Obviously, I didn't even have that many, but it was fun to basically compete against some of my heroes. I mean, they had a great team there, and it was super fun for us and a huge honor. Not knowing that basically a year later I would be in the NBA. I mean, I had no idea this was going to happen like that.
Yeah, the punchline of Dirk, you're 7 feet tall, you're not going to be in the Army, you can't hide, is always good.
For sure. Yes, that's always a hit.
What would you have done if you had to go to combat? Like, what would have been your specialty?
I was in
Do not reveal the secrets of the German army.
the German army. It was a good. I don't know. I think I was more. I wasn't really on the front line kind of guy. I think what we
Yeah,
were
I don't think so.
what we were training was more in the back, coming in and serving and replacement of machines and stuff like that. That's what I was trained to do. But we still had to learn how to march and shoot a gun, clean your gun, take your gun apart. I mean, we do all that in basic training. And then for the other 8 months, I was able to train like a true professional.
Man, just imagine like that wall climb and everyone's trying to climb up and you just like grab the top and lift yourself. I just think there'd be moments of training that'd be hilarious.
So,
That
Dirk,
does
Dirk, we know you got to go. Last question. Do your children know who you are? My children don't know who I am.
Well, I guess a little bit they understand. I mean, they were young when I retired, and
No,
so
but do they ask you about basketball stuff?
I mean, they understand that I played. They understand that I played, but they're not really. I think everybody else was always better. I guess they saw me at the end when I could barely move, and now I have some ankle issues, so I'm hobbling around. They're like, "Papa, you're way too slow. You never really played in the NBA." So then I pull up a couple of YouTube clips, and they're so grainy back in the days. The footage was so awful, so it doesn't really help my case. So maybe one day they'll understand it a little more.
I mean, because I'm still getting bills for trainers, and I'm like, did this guy play in the NBA? No, he didn't play, but he's what? I played in the NBA 30 years, but okay, whatever. Whatever you need, son.
That's funny.
Dirk, last question. Who was the biggest Shiza Dunkov in the NBA?
Hey, listen, I played with 21 years. There were some Dubkov. I think honestly, in total, I had about 200 teammates in my 21 years, and they were some Dubkov. They were
Yeah.
some Dubkov, but
All right.
that's all part of the game.
I can't tell you what that means, Lefko. Look it up.